Hello everyone, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Joined the Teen Ants. This story is made by DarkUzumaki, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. A blinding pain burst through his body, but he did not yield to it. Gritting his teeth, he fought back the scream that was burning in his lungs. Images flashed before Naruto Uzumaki's eyes. He remembered how he had got there. He had been walking in the woods when he had been attacked. He hadn't even sensed the attackers. They were on him far too fast for him to fight, and within moments they had him bound and dragged back here. They were of the Akatsuki. He knew that much. They were trying to extract Kyubi. He knew that too. What he didn't know was why. But then again, these things happened to him a lot, and it was rare there was any reason at all, or at least one that he had uncovered. A scream erupted within him, but it was not his own, it was Kyubi's. It resounded through his mind and sent a shiver through his body. It was not a scream of pain, it was a scream of rage. A voice rose through him that was not his own: I will not be taken. Naruto felt the chakra rising within him. He knew Kyubi was doing something, but he didn't have time to find out what. His body felt weak and he knew he was about to fall into unconsciousness. Darkness soon took him. Kyubi felt the pain through Naruto's body. The extraction process was working, he could feel it, but he would not let it be completed. Kyubi gathered up his chakra. It was difficult, but he managed it nonetheless. Kyubi's rage came out in a powerful scream. Naruto's body bended to his will as he let himself glide and slot into every nerve and tendon in Naruto's body, effectively taking it over. Looking through Naruto's eyes, he saw a red glow before him like a veil surrounding his body. Kyubi thrusts Naruto's hands onto the ground and forced all his chakra into it. A blinding light erupted as the fabric of space was torn open beneath him. It was a portal, currently small and undirected, but it was still growing. Kyubi had never done something like this before. He hadn't even known he could, but he didn't complain. In fact, he embraced it. Kyubi forced his chakra into the portal. He had no idea of its destination, but anywhere was better than here. What is happening? Shouted Pain above the deafening noise. Naruto crouched before him with a look of fury rather than pain on his face. His canines were showing and his hands had become like claws. A large red aura had surrounded him. Pain knew it was Kyubi, the nine-tailed fox. He knew the extraction process was working. He could feel Kyubi's life essence and chakra being pulled away, but somehow the demon was still able to gather his energy. He had never felt so much power being concentrated onto a singular spot. The ground rumbled beneath Naruto's feet as Kyubi continued to gather power. He drew and he drew, but soon he could draw no more. His essence was beginning to feel fatigued, delicate. He knew he wouldn't last much longer. Kyubi stretched out his tails. He needed more chakra, and he needed it now. So Kyubi took it from the only source that was left, the Akatsuki. There were 9 Akatsuki surrounding him, excluding Pain, their leader, who was not taking part in the process. Instead he stood back and watched. There were 9 Akatsuki around him, and he needed no less than 9 to take. Their bodies and faces were obscured by the darkness around them, but it didn't matter. He didn't need to see what they looked like. Kyubi continued to gather what was left of his own chakra while focusing his mind on the 9 Akatsuki around him. The extraction process had formed a variety of link between him and them. The link that was there was obviously their means of drawing his essence. He decided he would do the same, use their link to draw on their essences. Kyubi suddenly centered his chakra into the link. The power flowed through the tendrils that connected him to the 9 Akatsuki, suddenly reversing the process. The 9 members screamed as pain was wrenched through them. Their essence was forced down the link and into Kyubi's body. Kyubi instantly forced the new chakra into the portal below him. Suddenly the Akatsuki members screamed in agonizing pain. Pain watched as they were surrounded by a red glow. Barely a moment later their bodies seemed to warp. Slowly, one by one, they were absorbed into the 9 tails of Kyubi's aura. The red glow increased dramatically, almost to the point of being painful to the eyes. Pain shielded himself from the light and tried to make out what was happening through sound alone. A rushing sound filled the room, and as if it was never there to begin with, the light suddenly just vanished. Pain moved his hands away from his face and looked around. Where there should have been the boy Naruto and his 9 men, there was now nothing but cold dark earth. They were gone. Kit, wake up. The voice sounded far off, yet still pretty close. His head swam and throbbed with a dull pain and every limb on his body seemed to be sore. What happened? Naruto asked himself aloud. Once the world before him finally stopped spinning, he gave himself the liberty of looking around. He was in a forest. The ground was soft beneath his feet and birds sang in the blue sky. Even though his body felt sore, his mind felt sharp. Despite the obvious tranquility of the area, Naruto didn't want to stay. The area was unfamiliar and nothing like the forest's back Konohagakure. He needed to find out where he was. Gathering his chakra, Naruto leaped. The tree's smoothness did nothing to hinder his footwork. He leaped back and forth from branch to branch, traveling as fast as he could to the edge of the forest. However, he had no idea where that was. He could have been heading away from it for all he knew, but he had to take his chances. Thankfully, his sense of direction paid off when he finally saw a bright light indicating the edge of the trees. He burst out of the branches and into the bright sunlight and was struck paralyzed at the sight. It was a city. He was sure of it. But it was unlike any city he had ever seen. Silver and reflective buildings stood majestically against the blue sky, the glamour paling in comparison to their height. It seemed as if they were scraping the clouds themselves. Naruto had to know more than that, he needed food. He was reminded of this when a loud grumble emanated from his stomach. Wonder if they have ramen, he thought. But before he could eat, he needed to check the place out for any hostile individuals. He couldn't quite eat ramen while kunais were being thrown at his back, at least, not easily anyway. The tallest structure before him was on a small island in the large gap of water that lay between him and the city. It was shaped like a giant T. Naruto headed for it. He ran at breakneck speeds across the water, using his chakra to propel him easily as he ran. The water beneath him felt like a brick road as he pushed on towards the giant building. Once he reached the island, he might have stopped. Instead, he kept on running. He ran up to the bottom wall of the structure and propelled himself up it. Gravity ignored him as he sent his chakra into his feet, grounding himself to the vertical surface. He was at the top in moments. He flipped up and landed in the center of the roof. He gasped at the sight. He could see the entire city from here. Lights and sounds that he didn't recognize reached his eyes and ears. He was so fascinated he almost didn't hear the strange sounds coming from somewhere nearby. They sounded strange and inhuman. Naruto turned round and watched as alarming silver and blue things unfolded themselves from out of the roof's metallic surface. He wondered what they wanted, or at least, what they were. He didn't really have time to find out though. Suddenly, they began glowing and a large ball of bright energy shot at him. He quickly jumped out of the way. He span in the air and retrieved 3 kunais from their confines and threw them at the one of the objects that had attacked him. It blew up in a cloud of smoke, leaving only 3 remaining. After landing, he clasped his hands together and rapidly said, "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Suddenly, 6 exact duplicates of Naruto appeared in a puff of smoke. They attacked without order, quickly dispatching the last of his attackers. Afterwards, he made the clones disappear. He stood there trying to catch his breath. Just when he thought he was safe, a strange voice called out from behind him in a language he didn't understand. "Hey, who's up here? My turrets." Naruto spun round to see a group of individuals before him. He quickly assessed their appearances. The one that had shouted at him was amazingly tall. He was dark-skinned and appeared to be wearing some sort of silver and blue armor that half covered his face. Next to him stood a skinny boy roughly the same size as Naruto himself. He had spiky black hair, a red top with a yellow R on it, green tights and a black mask that covered his eyes except for a pair of white S for him to see out of. Next to him was a very strange one. The boy was even skinnier than the masked one. He wore a purple jumpsuit and a silver belt. The most peculiar aspect of him was the color of his skin. It was green. More than that, he also had pointy ears. His appearance was somewhat unsettling. Above them floated a yellow-skinned girl with deep red hair. She wore a purple tank top and purple tights. She was currently floating above all their heads, seemingly flying. Next to her was a person that caught Naruto's attention. She was floating like the other girl, but it was strange, as if her presence sent a shadow across all that which was near her. She wore a dark blue cape that was wrapped around her tightly, effectively seeing Naruto off from viewing her other garments. Her hood was up and it surprisingly hid her face completely. He could see her eyes though, he could see them very well, they glowed a bright white that sent shivers down his spine. The glow of her eyes illuminated a certain part of her face caught Naruto's attention completely. It was a small jewel in the center of her forehead, right where the Ojima chakra is. It was possible she knew about chakra. Together they were a strange bunch. The one in the mask spoke up. Who are you? He yelled. Naruto didn't understand a word. I don't understand what you're saying. He explained. A momentary look of confusion crossed their faces before they changed to one of understanding. All but one, that is. The green one looked at Naruto with a blank stare. What did he say? Asked the green one. The others looked at him with a weird expression. He's speaking Japanese. The masked one explained. Oh, does anyone know Japanese? He suddenly yelled. The rest of the group slowly provided an answer of yes. Apparently everyone but the green one knew the language. The one in the mask looked back at Naruto. Who are you and what are you doing here? He asked in Japanese. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, future Hokage of the Konohagakure village. What I'm doing here though is, I kinda don't know. He said, laughing slightly and scratching the back of his head. How can you not know? The tall metal-wearing one asked. I just don't. One moment I was being teased by the Akatsuki, the next I wake up in the forest. I just wanted to get a better view when I was attacked by these things. Dude, what's he saying? Asked the green one. I don't think he's a threat, I think he's lost. The masked one replied. Lost? How did he get lost and wind up on our roof? The green one yelled. I'll ask him. The masked one answered. How did you get up here? He asked. I ran, Naruto shrugged. What do you mean, as in, up the wall? Asked the masked one. A wide-eyed and shocked expression was shared through the group in front of Naruto. I think you better come inside, said the masked one. They all turned around and began walking. Naruto followed. The area around him was strange. Even the thing he sat on was a little strange. He knew it was a couch, he had seen some before, but none had been made of the same red material as this one. It was very comfy. How about you tell us where you came from? But first, I'm Robin. He reached out and shook Naruto's hand. Naruto. The ninja replied, shaking the hand. I'm Starfire. The yellow-skinned one greeted. Cyborg. And this here is Beast Boy, said the large black, white, and blue metallic one, motioning to the green pointy-eared one. I'm Raven, said the croaky voice of the dark gray-skinned girl with the blue cloak. So now that the introduction's over, tell me, where are you from? My home is called Konoha, but to tell you the truth I'm not even sure it exists here. Naruto answered, scratching the back of his head. Robin looked perplexed at this. Why do you think that? He asked. I don't know, everything's just so strange here, it feels like I'm in another world or something, Naruto replied, looking around the room as if searching for something. Dudes, what's he saying? Beast Boy interrupted. Everyone ignored him. Do you mean, like a different dimension? Raven asked, raising a single eyebrow. What's a dimension? Naruto asked curiously. We'll explain later. But for now I think the main question is this, how the did you get here, man? Cyborg asked. To tell you the truth, I don't really know. I mean, one moment I've been caught by the Akatsuki, I black out, and the next thing I know, I wake up in the forest. Naruto shrugged. Suddenly, Beast Boy came up from behind Cyborg and pounced on the large man's head. What is he saying? Beast Boy yelled. Yo, get off of me. Cyborg said, flinging Beast Boy off of him onto a chair to the right. But I wanna know what he's saying. Beast Boy said quietly. Well, if you be quiet, and stay out of my way, I'll make a verbal translator. Cyborg said. Beast Boy hung his head. Fine. He sighed. Beast Boy walked over to the TV and switched it on. He began flicking through the channels in a boredom-induced manner. He's quite the odd one, isn't he? Naruto asked, feeling confused and a little frightened. That's an understatement. Raven answered in fairly monotone voice. I don't know, how do we know we can trust you? Robin asked suspiciously. I mean, you could be working for Slade. Naruto looked even more confused than before. Who's Slade? Naruto asked. Starfire approached him from the side. Slade is a bad person. He has attacked us many times and never gives up. Him and Robin have some issues. What kind of issues? Naruto asked. It is probably best if I not say. Starfire answered. Why? Naruto asked curiously. Why won't you take no for an answer? It's a private subject, okay? Robin suddenly screamed and then stormed out of the room. Naruto sat there almost terrified at the event. Did I say something wrong? Naruto asked. Don't worry, Slade is kinda a sensitive subject for him. Just give him time to cool off, he'll come around. Cyborg said. Cyborg stood up and headed out of the room. If you need me, I'll be in my room working on that translator. Starfire translated and they watched Cyborg leave. Naruto thought for a moment. Do you mind if I have a look around? Starfire looked nervous. I am not sure that would be a good idea. I trust you, but the others, I do not know. Maybe. She turned her back for a moment to think. Maybe if I escort you. She said, turning around, but Naruto was already gone. He's fast, Raven commented. Robin was taking his anger out on the punching bag when he heard a voice from somewhere behind him. Your footwork's a bit off. Robin spun around, but from what he could see in the gloom, the light was off, which is how Robin prefers it. There was no one there. Naruto suddenly dropped from the shadows in a corner of the ceiling. How did you get there? Asked Robin. Does it matter? Asked Naruto, shrugging his shoulders. Yes, I don't like being interrupted during my training, replied Robin. Doesn't look like training to me, said Naruto. What that's supposed to mean? Said Robin. Well, all you're doing is punching and kicking, that's hardly gonna improve your skills. Said Naruto. That's how I train, said Robin. He was getting slightly irritated at this boy now. First he doesn't take no for an answer, then he ridicules his training regime. But where's the challenge? Asked Naruto, smiling. I'm not sure I follow, said Robin, suddenly curious at where this was going. Well, when I train, I at least have an opponent. Naruto replied. I'm the best martial artist here, so finding a decent sparring partner is kinda difficult, said Robin. What about me? Asked Naruto. Do you know any good martial arts? Said Robin, now smiling. Do you? Replied Naruto with the grin on his face. Care to find out? Said Robin. Robin thought. I might actually grow to like this kid. Gladly, said Naruto. Naruto attacked Robin, surprising him with his speed. Several punches and kicks were exchanged before Naruto pulled out his kunai. He went to S at Robin with the blade and the young masked boy barely dodged the S. Hey, what's with the weapon? Robin asked. During a battle, your opponent will use any means to take you down. Naruto said simply. So how can you truly say you are training unless you face a real threat? He asked. But isn't it dangerous? Asked Robin. What's the matter, you a scaredy cat? Naruto asked with a grin. All right, but I warn you, I'm good, said Robin. Robin pulled out his staff and began to spin above his head. Naruto quickly kicked Robin in the stomach, sending him backwards. Flashy moves like that ain't going to win you a fight, said Naruto warningly. I'll keep that in mind. Robin jumps at the air and swings his staff at Naruto. Naruto ducks under the swings and spin on one foot while bringing other round and hitting Robin at the side, knocking him on the wall. You're good, I can say that, but I never give up, Robin said. Likewise, Naruto said. The charged Beast Boy was about to eat some tofu when suddenly a huge bang resounded throughout the building. The floors shook dramatically and the pointy-eared boy's food flew up into the air. Unfortunately for Beast Boy, gravity didn't think kindly of him. The tofu landed straight on his head. What was that? Yelled Beast Boy. I don't know, but I think it came from the training room. Robin's in there last time I checked. By the way, BB, I got the translator done. I'll just stick it on our new friend and he'll be speaking our language to us, and we'll be speaking his language to him. Cyborg said, showing Beast Boy a small device. That is very good, Cyborg, but I think we should check on what is happening in the training room. Starfire said. They ran out and barged the training room. What they saw stopped them in their tracks. Naruto and Robin are attacking each other relentlessly. Robin's bombs were being thrown everywhere while Naruto's kunais joined them continuously. It really did seem as though they wanted to hurt each other. There was only one indication to the contrary, they both wore smiles. The rest of the group back off slowly out of the room. Let's not talk about this, said Starfire. Probably a good idea, agreed Cyborg. The Ans and Naruto were currently sat in the living room with a very displeased Cyborg. Dude, you trashed the training room. Cyborg exclaimed. Naruto looked sheepish. It was just training, he muttered. Cyborg blinked. The look on his face portrayed an expression of confusion. Just training, Cyborg repeated. If that was training, what do you call fighting? Naruto stared blankly at the metallic man. Fighting, he said with a shrug of his shoulders. Cyborg walked away shaking his head muttering to himself. Crazy, these kids are crazy. Just training they say. Ha, training. And I'm Margaret Thatcher, he muttered to himself. He walked over to the couch and sat down. He began flicking through the channels idly. Those are some pretty impressive moves you got there, Raven stated to Naruto. Where did you learn them? Naruto seemed only too pleased to brag about his life's training and began retelling stories upon stories about his hometown of Konohagakure. Strangely enough, only Raven and Starfire seemed to be listening. While Starfire's interest was not all that startling to the other Ans, Raven's was. A ninja, Starfire exclaimed, clapping her hands together and jumping up and down on the spot. You must be so strong. Are you a master? Starfire's interest and overexcitement scared Naruto a little, but he couldn't help but laugh at the question. Me, a master? He began to laugh humorously. Well, I do pride myself in my skill, he said, inspecting his fingernails. Beast Boy thumped Naruto round the head. Yeah right, you big phony. BB laughed. No, I'm not a master, Naruto stated as he picked himself off of the floor rubbing his head. But I hope to be Hokage when I'm older. Beast Boy looked at him blankly. What a Hokage? There were a powerful ninjutsu leader that were famous for sealing away the Bayou demons. The group stared at Raven. Robin and Cyborg were still as a rock on the sofa. They slowly turned their heads with large Cheshire Cat grins on their faces. And how did you know that? They said in unison. They suddenly jumped up and backed Raven into a corner. Doing some background check on your boyfriend. Raven looked horrified. No. Raven threw them into a wall with her powers and walked away. Naruto was confused at the others and kind of shocked at their accusations against Raven. She didn't really like him, did she? I need some air, Naruto said. He walked out of the room. The breeze was chilling and welcoming to Naruto compared to the stifling heat that had been present throughout the day. The sky was getting dark and its clouds were outlined in beautiful colors from the setting sun. What are you doing, Kit? Said a voice within his head. Naruto didn't answer. It's okay, no need to answer. But don't you think we should be heading home? We destroyed all the Akatsuki except for Pain. I doubt we'd have any trouble from him for a while. And how do you expect us to get home? Tell me that, furball. How in this world or the next are we supposed to cross dimensions? Could you do it a second time? No, I didn't think so. For the time being we're stuck here. So if you don't have anything useful to say, don't say anything at all. Naruto thought, almost harshly. You want useful? How about a new set of clothes? You look like a tramp in this world. Get changed already. Where am I gonna get new clothes? Borrow from the others, Kyuubi stated simply. For a moment Naruto imagined himself in Robin's tights. Suddenly his stomach turned and he thought he'd be sick. No thank you. A voice came out from behind him suddenly. Are you okay? Naruto turned round and saw Raven standing there. Her presence didn't really faze him, but her clothes did. She was wearing white. Why are you wearing white? Naruto asked, quite shocked at her image. Raven looked embarrassed. I wanted to see what you thought, she said quietly and quite out of character. It looks nice, he commented. The wind whipped around them and Raven's hood was thrown off of her head. She made no move to replace it but merely stood there watching him. Naruto looked at her face. Before she had seemed gray, pale, and depressed. But strangely, in the light of the dawn she seemed more human and full of life than most people he knew. Her face reflected the light and the white cloak she wore only added to the feeling of her being beautiful. Because that's what he thought she was at that moment. Quite beautiful. Raven walked over and sat down beside him, hanging her feet over the edge of the building. She was obviously unafraid of heights, but then again, she could fly. Why would she fear heights when they meant no danger to her? She lowered her head and seemed suddenly depressed. Raven brought her knees up and embraced them. What is it? Naruto asked. Raven looked at him, her lips curled up into a small smile. Isn't that what I just asked you? She asked. Well, yeah, Naruto replied sheepishly. And did you answer? No, he muttered. Then why should I answer you? She asked. Because you wouldn't have come here unless you wanted to talk. Naruto shrugged. Raven smiled a bit more, but it soon turned into a frown. Naruto knew she wouldn't tell him. She was playing him. She knew he'd tell her what he had yet to tell anyone in this world. The reason for everybody's fear and hatred of him in his own world. Do you know what it's like to have something inside of you that you can't control? A power that consumes you when you least want it to? Asked Naruto. I do, said Raven. Her voice was soft and honest. Its crackly gruff, which was usually present, seemed to have lifted for a short period of time. Really? So you have a demon seal inside you with enough chakra to destroy the world and the intent to do so? Said Naruto. Yes, although mine is not sealed, I was born with it. Plus mine doesn't use chakra. Raven stated with a shrug. She seemed highly out of character in this moment, as if she were revealing a part of herself that no had understood before. How were you born with it? Naruto asked. From my father. Her voice suddenly returned to its hoarse state, and Naruto could almost hear the sizzle of hate in her body as she said those words. How did that happen? Who was he? Said Naruto. He knew he was treading on thin ice with such a subject, but his curiosity was getting the better of him. I'd rather not talk about it, said Raven with her head bowed. I understand, said Naruto, forcing himself to stop asking awkward questions. The last thing he wanted to do was get thrown off the top of a building. You've got one of the Bayou inside of you, haven't you? Raven asked. Her voice was once again soft and sincere. How could you tell? Naruto asked curiously. The look on your face when I mentioned them before. You went all wide-eyed and looked nervous. Said Raven. Oh, began Naruto. Am I that easy to read? Raven chuckled. It was the first time he had heard her laugh even in the slightest. So, which have you got? She asked. The worst, said Naruto with contempt. QB. Raven stated knowingly. You must be powerful. Tell that to my senseis, they think I'm a screw-up. Naruto exclaimed. Well, from the way you faced Robin, I'd say they're pretty bad judges, said Raven. Thanks, Raven, said Naruto. Naruto had the sudden urge to reach out and hold her hand. But at that moment she stood up. I've got to go, she said, looking reluctant to leave, reluctant, or eager. Naruto couldn't tell. Raven appeared in her room from a portal in the roof. She tore off her white garments and replaced them with her standard blue ones. Satisfied with the way she looked, she walked over to her bookcase. She didn't bother to look for the book she wanted, she merely held out her hand and the book floated into it. She laid her head down on her bed and began trying to read History of the Bayou. But she found she couldn't concentrate. She kept thinking about Naruto. Why does he make me feel like this? She asked herself. Do I like him? No, I do not. I won't think like that. I haven't thought like that since. Her mind fluttered back in recollection. Beast Boy. She forced the thoughts out of her head and forced herself to concentrate on reading. Thankfully, once the book took hold, she found it just that much easier to resist the butterflies she felt in her stomach every time she thought of Naruto. Naruto was practically ransacking all the other rooms in the building. Dude, what are you doing? Beast Boy said, popping out of nowhere. Looking for some new clothes like someone told me to. Why didn't you just ask me? Beast Boy dragged Naruto into his room. 2 hours later, Beast Boy walked out into the living room with a grin on his face. Oh guys, he called. The other Ans looked over at him. Presenting the new An in the building. Naruto. Beast Boy called. I am not coming out. Naruto called through. Beast Boy laughed sheepily. Hey, I'll be right back. Beast Boy dodged round the corner and a series of load bangs and clonks reached the other's ears. Suddenly Naruto was thrown into the middle of the living room. He was wearing a copy of Beast Boy's outfit, including Beast Boy's old helmet. Everyone's faces remained stern for a moment. Slowly but surely each face became a large grin. Laughter erupted throughout the building. Naruto stormed off feeling embarrassed and rather angry with Beast Boy. The next day, Cinderblock S through the final wall leading to Slade's 0-point chamber. The Teenans had, the previous year, finally caught the villain. The cell which they had put him in was made by Cyborg. It held him suspended in the air, completely unable to move. Cinderblock ran up to the middle of the room where Slade hovered. He at the top of the device, destroying it. Slade fell to the floor with a thud. Thank you, Cinderblock. You have been most useful. Cinderblock grunted in response. Now to escape from this prison. A large bolt of green energy into Slade's back, knocking him into a nearby wall. You are not going anywhere. Starfire said sternly. Ah, the Teenans, so glad that you could join us today. It warms my bee to see you. I can't say the same. Robin replied. Really, after all we've been through, I'd thought you'd consider me somewhat of a father. After all, we are so alike. Slade said sinisterly. I'm nothing like you. Robin roared. He leapt into the air, bring his staff down upon Slade. Slade reached up and easily caught the staff, holding Robin up in the air for a few moments before throwing him into a wall. Tut, tut, tut. I thought I taught you better than that. Boy. Slade said the last word with a particular snideness. Leave him alone. Starfire charged at Slade. She fired a concussion of star bolts. Slade held his arms in front of his face as the bolts hit. Smoke rose up around him. Starfire flew into the smoke only to be gripped by the N. The smoke cleared and Slade was holding Starfire at the end while she struggled to free herself. Ah, the girlfriend. You should know better, little girl, than to mess with me. And you should know better than to touch my friends. Robin shouted as he struck Slade over the back with his pole. The villain tumbled to the ground at the impact on his back. He quickly flipped up and out of the way from a large blue blast from Cyborg's arm cannon. Raven used her powers to lift Slade up into the air and throw him against a wall, but he did not against it. He kicked off of it and punched Raven in the face, knocking her to the floor. Cyborg ran at Slade and went to grab him. Slade grabbed both of Cyborg's arms and they held each other still, struggling against both of their strength. While Cyborg was far larger than Slade, Slade was obviously far stronger. Slade crushed Cyborg's hands and forced him to his knees. That's it, bow to me. He muttered in Cyborg's ear. He kicked Cyborg hard, sending him plummeting down the corridor. Where is the green one? Come out, Beast Boy, I know you're here. Slade said. Beast Boy jumped from a crevice in the ceiling above. Changing from a rat to a triceratops, he span in the air and headed straight toward Slade. Slade grabbed hold of the triceratops' horns and threw him across the room into a wall. This is greatly disappointing, Robin. It seems you really have been slacking. How could you have grown so weak? Robin struggled to get to his feet. He managed eventually, but it hurt. I am not weak, he said, his voice sounding rough. Aren't you? Slade approached Robin and stood in front of him. Look around you, Robin, your friends have fallen once again, and here you stand in pain. You are weak. You were always weak. And you always will be weak. Why? Because you don't have the guts to do what I do. You don't have the stones to be a man. And because of that, you will never win. People never truly lose until they either or give up, said a voice from behind Slade. Slade looked around to see a small blonde-haired boy wearing an orange jumpsuit. Naruto had thought that his original smelly outfit was by far better than Beast Boy's embarrassing one. And who might you be, boy? Slade narrowed his eyes at the white child before him. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, and I'm here to take you down. He called. Just try it, Slade said. Only a full attacks first. You want me? Come and get me, Naruto said. With pleasure, Slade said. Slade ran at Naruto as fast as he could. Naruto crossed his fingers and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Instantly, a double of himself appeared in a puff of smoke. Slade made to punch him, but Naruto ducked out of the way, pushing the fist away from his body. He sent his right palm flat and forced it against Slade's C, causing him to double over in pain. The Bunshin Naruto roundhouse kicked Slade in the back, causing the villain to bend backwards at the impact. Both the clone and the original Naruto jumped and span in the air, and brought their foots against Slade's C, sending him flying into the far wall. The Teenians had managed to get to their feet and saw the attack. They stood there with awestruck faces. Their mouths and eyes were wide with shock. Slade pulled himself off of the floor as if the attack had done nothing to him. You will pay for that, boy. I will so enjoy watching you. He charged at the two Narutos. Naruto and his clone both charged at Slade side by side. When Slade was near, they leapt up into the air and over Slade's head, kicking the back of his head as they went. Slade doubled over, and in those few moments, Naruto screamed, "Rasengan." Slade turned round to see Naruto with his right hand occupying a glowing ball of blue energy. His clone was spinning the energy round and round. Slade had barely any time to react. Naruto thrust the glowing ball against Slade's sea. Slade screamed in pain and suddenly there was an explosion of fire and smoke. Once the air was clear of the smoke, the An saw Slade with a huge hole in his stomach. Wires and gears were all over the place. Small sparks of electricity sprouted and jumped from the hole. Slade fell down. "Dude, Slade was a robot," Beast Boy exclaimed. Cyborg slapped Beast Boy round the head, knocking him to the ground. "Beast Boy, that wasn't Slade, you idiot. It was a decoy. The real Slade must have escaped somehow," Cyborg stated, checking his systems and scanning the air. "There's no sign of him. He's long gone." "No, he's not," Robin said with a fire in his eyes. "Because wherever he is, he'll be planning an attack. And when he does, I'll be waiting." He stormed past them with a dark look around his face that basically told everyone else to back off. Raven watched Robin for a little while and then approached Naruto and his clone. Him and the clone both stood in exactly the same stance, with their right hand behind their head and grinning rather broadly. "Hi," said the one to the left. He reached out and took one of Raven's hands and began it like a Frenchman. "Hello, Sherry." The other Naruto clonked him on the head. Sorry about that," he said, laughing slightly. "How did you do this?" she said, looking between the two Narutos. Suddenly the Naruto to the left vanished in a puff of white smoke. She was rather surprised by this and stepped back a pace as it happened. "It's just a simple Bunshin technique. Basically a shadow clone. And are they exact duplicates? No changes in personality or anything?" "No changes," Naruto stated proudly. "So the K of the hand thing," she looked at him with a raised eyebrow. Naruto suddenly seemed squeamish. Look, the rock guy's still here," he said rapidly, obviously trying to change the subject. "So what are you waiting for?" Beast Boy exclaimed. "An invitation. You just took out Slade, go. 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 Kick Cinderblock's butt." I can't," Naruto stated. Beast Boy's excitement seemed to drop like a brick. And so did his jaw. "How did you work that one out?" Beast Boy asked skeptically. "I use wind jutsu. Imagine this, giant boulder versus gust of wind. Wind doesn't really do much. I'll need help." "Rag," Cinderblock shouted as he ran at Naruto. The giant boulder of a man collided with Naruto, sending him crashing into a nearby wall. Winded and exhausted, Naruto collapsed to the ground. "And go," Robin called. Robin threw a freezing disc at Cinderblock, freezing him to the spot. Raven lifted him up into the air and slammed the rocky villain against the roof. As he fell down, Starfire fired a blast from her eyes, sending him tumbling across the hallway. Cinderblock struggled to get up. Once he managed, he was knocked off of his feet again by Beast Boy as a Triceratops. The villain got to his feet again and charged. He thumped Cyborg around the face, sending the boy hurtling through a wall. Suddenly a mass amount of Bunshin clones jumped on top of Cinderblock. The villain easily threw them off, turning them into smoke as they hit the walls around him. Star bolts pelted his body, but they didn't affect him. Cinderblock grabbed Starfire's legs and swung her around and then threw her across the hall. Just before she crashed into the ground, Naruto swept underneath her and caught her. "Oh, thank you, friend Naruto," she said, her cheeks slightly red. No problem," he said, feeling a little heated around the face. Cyborg blasted Cinderblock with his sonic cannon, but once again, it didn't affect him. "Robin, sonic boom," Cyborg shouted, dodging out of Cinderblock's way. "Gotcha," Robin shouted back. Starfire kicked Cinderblock across the hall to make space for Robin and Cyborg. Robin and Cyborg ran at Cinderblock. They ran diagonally up the wall and flipped perfectly. Robin threw a high explosive disc at Cinderblock and Cyborg fired his sonic cannon. They hit Cinderblock at the same time, causing a huge explosion, sending Cinderblock crashing to the floor unconscious. "Alright, dudes, we did it," Beast Boy said, jumping up in the air. All you did was get your butt kicked," Cyborg said, grinning. "I did not," Beast Boy argued. Yeah, you kinda did," Naruto agreed. Hey, you can't talk. You were the first to be knocked down. Beast Boy exclaimed. Yeah, but I didn't stay down, you did. Naruto pointed out. Beast Boy looked between them rapidly before lowering his head in shame. Okay, I'll call the authorities, maybe this time they can lock up Cinderblock for good, said Robin. Robin pulled out his communicator and contacted the head of police. Within moments they were there. After all the details had been sorted out, the group made their way back to the T-Tower. Robin is trying to track Slade's whereabouts at the large computer in front of the room while the other sitting in the table. He been at that for hours, does he ever stop? Said Naruto. Not when it come to Slade, it best to stay out of his way, said Cyborg. Robin is kind of obsessed with Slade, said Starfire. He ain't that bad, said Naruto. Oh yeah, I bet you tonight that he won't sleep, said Cyborg with a grin. Chapter 3 complete. Cyborg had been right, and Naruto had lost some money. Robin hadn't slept that night at all. In fact, when Naruto came down at 3 o'clock in the morning, Robin had still been up walking briskly around, taking notes and jugging down his 4th cup of coffee. Naruto feared he'd become addicted to the stuff, so he stole the coffee beans and took them upstairs. Though it became apparent in the morning that Robin had some spare, for he was still drinking the drink when the rest of the ants awoke at 7. Dude, did you get any sleep at all? Beast Boy exclaimed. Cyborg looked bewildered at all the coffee mugs in the sink. Robin darted past him as fast as the Flash himself and began pouring himself another cup. Oh hell no, Cyborg exclaimed. You off. He yanked the coffee out of Robin's hands and tried to fend off the teenager when Robin made to grab for it. Give me it. I need it. No. What you need is sleep. Cyborg reached behind him and picked up a frying pan. He whacked Robin round the head and the youth fell to the floor unconscious. Nighty-night, Cyborg said with a grin. Beast Boy poked his head over the counter and looked at Robin. You've been waiting to do that, haven't you? Beast Boy asked Cyborg with a grin. For about 6 years, Cyborg said with a proud grin. Suddenly there was a special news bulletin. The TV screen switched from a map of the city to a news reporter on the cable. News reporter. Yesterday a shocking incident occurred. The famed teen ants faced off against the duo Cinderblock and Slade. But they were quickly overpowered. However, in a strange turn of events, the day was saved by a small blonde-haired boy. The boy faced Slade and beat him with apparent ease, much to the shock of the teen ants. Is there a new hero in town? Who was this blonde-haired boy? Where did he come from? No matter what the answer to these questions, one thing is certain. The day is still saved, once again by the heroes of Jump City. Dude, they noticed you more than me. Beast Boy cried. Of course, why would they notice someone that got their butt kicked? Said Cyborg grinning. For the last time, I did not get my butt kicked. Beast Boy cried. I apologize for agreeing with them, friend Beast Boy, but you did, as they say, get your butt kicked. Starfire said. Yeah, you kinda did. Said Raven. Will everyone stop ganging up on me? Beast Boy said and walked away heavily. Do you always do that to him? Asked Naruto. Hey, it's not like we're lying. He just can't take it. Cyborg said grinning again. A few days later. Dude, they've been covering this story for days. When will they get over it? Beast Boy screamed at front of the TV. The news reporter was on again, still covering the story of how Naruto had beaten the Slade robot. Recent investigation has uncovered that the Slade that the ants and the blonde-haired boy faced was not the real Slade. The real Slade had quickly made his escape and left a robot in his place. There is still no sign of the Jump City new hero. The reporter said. Can we go out? I want more of that pizza I had yesterday. Said Naruto. We can't go out, the press is crawling for an interview. They even said they'd pay. But I still don't think it's a good idea. For now we just have to lay low. If something happens, then we go outside, other than that. Stay indoors, Robin ordered. Beast Boy looked a little sheepish. I've got some stuff to do in, my room. Yeah, my room. See ya. He quickly ran out of the room. That was weirder than usual, Raven commented, looking up from her book. A few hours later, Beast Boy came back into the room looking frightened. Guys, there's like a load of girls outside. He stammered. What? Robin said. They followed Beast Boy to the door and opened it a little. Beast Boy and Robin poked their heads out with Naruto just in view behind them. Naruto Uzumaki. The girls screamed in a chorus and attempted to barge past into the tower. Robin and Beast Boy just managed to close the door and barricade it with planks of wood. How did they know my name? Naruto asked. Once again, Beast Boy looked sheepish, and somewhat frightened. Well, that might have a teensy weeny little bit to do with me. What did you do? Raven asked darkly. I kinda, gave them an interview. He raised his arms to protect himself in fear of being hit. You did what? Robin screamed. So not only did you leave the tower, you also gave them Naruto's name. Robin screamed. Is this bad? Naruto asked. That depends, Cyborg said while scratching his chin. Do you like the attention of over 50,000 people from one whole city at the same time all trying to touch and stroke you just to claim that they did? He asked. No, Naruto said unsurely. It's bad then, Cyborg answered shrugging his shoulders a little. Will they leave me alone? Naruto asked. Maybe in a few years, Cyborg said scratching his chin. We can't focus on this right now. Our first priority is to track down Slade, Robin said sternly. Yeah, dude, Beast Boy piped up. Say we do find Slade, how do we go and face him? Not only will he kick our butts like he has many times over. Only yours, Cyborg quickly interrupted with a smile. Let me finish. But we also can't step a foot out of the door without being attacked by a mob. I usually don't say stuff like this, but Beast Boy's right. Raven said. Cyborg, what about the T-Jet? Asked Robin. Can't, it's still out of commission from when we used it last. You know, when Beast Boy s off one of the wings. He said eyeing Beast Boy accusingly. What? Dude, that was so totally not my fault. I was being chased, it was a complete accident. Beast Boy said trying to defend himself. But you still broke it. Cyborg said cheerfully. Dude, why are you so against me lately? He cried and stormed away. Listen, this bickering isn't going to help. We need a plan. A diversion. But first, we need to find Slade. Robin said. Are you in love with him or something? Naruto asked. Robin was shocked at the question. No, he screamed. How could you even insinuate such a thing? That's totally wrong. Oh god no. Then why are you so obsessed? Naruto asked shrugging. I have my reasons. Just stay out of my business. Robin screamed as he stormed away into the living room. Is it always like this around here? Naruto asked. Pretty much, Cyborg replied. Back in the living room. The TV was turned on and the first thing that was on, was once again, the news. Reporter. In a shocking development, the Beast Boy gave us an interview. The screen switched to look at Beast Boy as he talked to the cameras. Oh yeah, I know that blonde dude. His name's Naruto Uzumaki, I'm kinda his own personal friend and bodyguard. Said the Beast Boy on the TV, flexing his lack of biceps. He's from a different dimension. We're trying to send him back. But no luck so far. Hey, did you guys see those K moves I did on Slade? The reporter looked at Beast Boy as though he had grown another head. Actually, what we saw was Slade throw you into a wall. The reporter said unsurely. Beast Boy's face was one of shock. I did not. Why does everyone keep saying I got my butt kicked? The Beast Boy on the screen grabbed the camera and continued to shout at it until it see out. And that's what happened. The weather is after this. The reporter said. Robin turned off the TV and turned to Beast Boy. Does the word, secret, mean anything to you? You gave them his name. You gave them information on how he got here. Information that Slade could now use. Robin said sternly. Good going Beast Boy, you just made a difficult job, even more difficult. Said Cyborg Beast Boy on the back. Maybe you should think before you act. Robin said simply. He needs a brain first. Raven croaked. Beast Boy glared at all of them. There was a very large vein at his temple that was throbbing profoundly. Stop digging at me, Beast Boy shouted. Then stop being such a loser and MESSIN, up. Cyborg shouted back. Beast Boy didn't shout back. He just hung his head and walked away to his room. Can I speak with him? Asked Naruto. Be my guest. Say, If you're gonna beat him up, can I be there to watch? Cyborg asked, grabbing a pot of popcorn. I'm not going to beat him up, Naruto said as he walked away. Beast Boy's room. Why do I always mess things up? Beast Boy asked himself aloud. He was pacing his room with his hands clasped behind his back while he stared at the floor. Because you don't think, a voice said. Beast Boy turned round to see Naruto standing there. Where did you come from? Beast Boy said, slightly alarmed. I wanna talk to you, Naruto said, sitting down on Beast Boy's bed after throwing a piece of clothing aside to make room. Beast Boy's room was certainly a mess. Do you ever clean this place? Naruto asked, wrinkling his nose at the smell. If you're gonna just sit there and be mean, then you can go, Beast Boy said angrily. No, I'm here to talk. Tell me about yourself. Are you an, what's the word, alien? No, Beast Boy said, suddenly looking sad. I was an accident. Naruto felt sympathy for Beast Boy. What happened? When I was young, I was in an accident. I was covered in this green gooey stuff, and a few weeks later I was green-skinned and pointy-eared. Apparently my cells, or whatever they are unstable. As Cyborg puts it, I can morph myself into any creature I want, Beast Boy said quietly. Even other humans? Naruto asked. I'm not really sure, I've never tried, Beast Boy said thoughtfully. Try it now, said Naruto. Beast Boy tried to morph into Naruto. It obviously put a stain on him as his whole body was shaking from head to toe. Naruto laughed at the form before him. It looked exactly like him except for one problem. The jumpsuit, hair and skin was all completely green. Naruto laughed heartily. Beast Boy morphed back and laughed with Naruto. Dude, you're the only one who's ever laughed with me instead of at me, except maybe Blackfire, but she turned out to be evil, said Beast Boy thoughtfully, scratching his chin. Who's Blackfire? Naruto asked curiously. She was just some evil chick that was Starfire's sister. Old news really, Beast Boy said with a shrug. Oh, okay, said Naruto, a little disappointed with the lack of details. He looked up at Beast Boy, who had laid himself down on his bed with his hands behind head and his feet crossed. Say, you wanted that pizza, right? Beast Boy asked with a large Cheshire cat grin. Yeah, Naruto agreed, looking a little suspicious. Okay. Beast Boy's grin, against all impossibility, grew larger. Beast Boy raised his hand and slid back a panel on the wall, revealing a keypad. He punched in a few buttons and another pad showed up. He pressed his hand to it and a small device popped out next to his mouth. Beast Boy said clearly. Suddenly the wall opened up like a door to reveal an entire room full of ready-cooked pizza. Welcome to my sanctuary, said Beast Boy, grinning. Naruto almost fainted in shock. What are they doing? They've been inside for an hour, said Cyborg while moving left and right. Starfire put her ear to Beast Boy's room door and heard loud music, banging, laughing and chomping noises. I do not wish to know, she said, looking worried. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.